Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. And welcome to my review of the Doctor Who episode titled The Waters of Mars. This has got to be my very favourite episode of the revival and probably even my favourite Russell T Davies episode. This was actually written by Russell T Davies and Phil Ford. This is a magnificent episode that guest stars the magnificent Lindsay Duncan, one of my favourite actors on British TV. She's so good. She's been on so many great dramas as well. It was a great coup to cast her alongside David Tennant in this adventure. Now, what I love about this episode going into it, there's no companion. The Doctor arrives on the red planet, aka Mars, on his own. And he bumps into Captain Adelaide, and he quickly finds out that this crew actually died on this mission, and this is a fixed point in time, and he can't interfere. And then what you see is a beautiful sequence where he keeps on flashing and seeing all their names on the news, how they've been deceased and all of that, and he walks away as they're about to kind of die, but then he starts having flashes of all the people he's lost. And I think this is a very kind of prominent thing in this story, that the Doctor is driven by all the heartbreak and tragedy that he's had ever since he's been the 10th Doctor. And that drives him to change this fixed point in time, as he calls himself the Time Lord Victorious. The Doctor becomes broken and obsessed with solving this and saving these people's lives. And what you see now, there's no one there to stop him. He goes too far. He knows that this regeneration is going to die soon. He's already been told he will knock 4 times, then you will die. That also is bothering him. But really, this is a really brilliant episode. And as I say, such a great performance by the guest artists, and Captain Adelaide is a really, really good character. And I also love that sequence when you see her as a child and coming face to face with the Dalek, and she's never understood why she was spared. The Dalek killed her parents, so she wanted to become an astronaut. This is just such a good episode, so emotional. There is a little bit of humour in this, but not as much as we're used to from Russell's era. This really is a dark story, and this turn takes a dark turn very quickly. As I say, when the Doctor decides to, break the rules and fix a moment that's a fixed point in time. We saw that in this very season of Doctor Who, season 11, in episode 3, when it's a fixed point in time, and she can't interfere, and she makes that clear to her companions. But this is a more compelling story, really, because this Doctor has been so fleshed out. Tennant's Doctor probably is the most fleshed out Doctor of the revival, and this is a moment in his life where his life will soon be over, and he gets broken. I suppose he has a psychotic break, if you like, and he only realizes how wrong he's been when Captain Adelaide goes into her house and kills herself, because he saves her life. He saves their lives and breaks the rules. So the only way she can beat him and put things as they were is by killing herself. And it really is an amazing moment. And then he really, he runs into the TARDIS and he realizes he's been wrong. And he comes back, I suppose, from his psychotic break. This is just such an intellectually written episode by Russell and Phil. This is really the nuance you get with Russell T Davies. So clever. And by this point, Russell's able to write the kind of episode he wants. He's going to be going soon. No one can stop him. No one's going to say to him, "Oh, Russell, this is a bit dark." He wanted to do this. It's a great Doctor Who story. And I suppose, really, we see beneath the mystique of the Doctor for once, because for the past 55 years, we don't really know too much about him. We know he's from Gallifrey. We know he ran away from Gallifrey. But we don't know the kind of woven in psychological aspects of his character, what makes him tick. And I think for this once we see, the loss of Donna, I think, bothers him more than the loss of Rose. That really hurt for him. Not only because he really liked Donna, not that he didn't like Rose, but Donna was someone, when he met her, was really broken and angry, and he kind of fixed her, he inspired her. And imagine all those beautiful adventures, and she forgotten them. And I'm going to cry in a minute. That is the best companion exit I've ever seen. He wasn't happy. She doesn't go marching off like Martha. She doesn't become a soldier or a hero. She forgets everything that she's learned. And for the Doctor, teaching people, inspiring people is very important to him, especially this Doctor. So that's hurt him. And he's driven by these losses. And of course, in his mind and in his ears is still Davros's words that he takes ordinary people and turns them into weapons. And I think it's really an emotional story. And this really is, for once, the Doctor's story. It isn't really about Adelaide or any of the other characters. It's about him and how he can't accept losing. And because there's no one there to stop him, at this very moment, he basically says, fuck it. I'm going to break the rules. I'm a Time Lord. I can do anything. And you see this psychotic break. And when you see it, it's very compelling and very sad to see what's become of this Doctor. Because when we first meet him in the Christmas Invasion, he's inspired. He goes a bit dark. So at that moment on the Christmas Invasion, when he goes dark, you realise that this is a guy who could be, hello, I'm the Doctor, but can also be someone who says, I am the Doctor and I can do anything. You just killed those aliens when they were going home, and now I'm going to destroy you. Now, I don't think we've ever seen a Doctor who wields his power in that way. And I think that's a great example of what I'm talking about in this episode. And David Tennant, really, you've got to remember that David Tennant knew he wasn't going to be around for much longer. He could have just been going through the motions. Russell T Davies and Phil Ford could have just gone through the motions. The Planet of the Damned, was it? I didn't like that episode very much. And that did feel like they were going through the motions. But this makes up for that episode. This is, it was Planet of the Dead, that's right. Didn't like that. But moving on. Basically, this episode is so special, so unique. I can only think of another episode that takes the Doctor to such depths, and that's Midnight. And he's not in control there. He's, if it wasn't for that stewardess opening the door for that entity to go, and basically the Doctor would have been screwed. But this is different because the Doctor is making all the decisions, and is he making the wrong decisions? I don't know. I suppose from a human point of view, he's not. He's just trying to save people's lives. But he knows it's wrong. He knows by changing that, he's changing so many good things that happen because of what Adelaide does. And I think this is the whole problem here. He just can't walk away. He's lost too much. He wants to make a difference. But literally, he's come to the wrong place at this time of his life cycle. And what really happens here is something really, really emotional. He's got no one left, and he's operating on his own, and he's bitter, and he's angry. I don't want to keep on losing anymore. And as I say, and let me just say, because you know how much I respect Murray Gold, and I'll say it a billion times, people who hated him near the end of his reign on Doctor Who as the composer, I will never understand it. Because his music was beautiful. The John Williams, the Welsh John, no, he's not Welsh actually, but even though Doctor Who was mainly Welsh, but English or whatever he is, right? Murray Gold, genius. And I want him back composing Doctor Who. After season 12, when Chibnall's gone, I want Murray Gold back. And I will do everything in my power, and I will use my voice to try and make that happen. But anyway, this episode is a 10 out of 10 episode. You will never see a better episode of sci-fi. You will never see a better episode of Doctor Who. This is what we want from it. This is what it can do if you use your imagination and you take yourself outside the box, because Mars is an amazing planet to visit. I mean, you know, it's not far away from Earth or anything like that. Well, it is, but, you know, we're not going outside the solar system. We're not looking at a fictional world here. It's Mars. But what you do is you take the Doctor to Mars and you give him a really, really personal story, and you really show how lonely and broken he is by this stage. And I tell you what, it is so special. The nuance of the writing, the nuance of the performance, you will not see this anywhere. Forget your Game of Thrones, forget your Walking Dead, forget your Doctor Who Season 11. This is what we should see at least once a year from a Doctor Who episode. And this is my very problem. Jodie hasn't been given these kind of tools to operate. And it's absolutely tragic, because actors can't do much about what they're fed, what they're given. And she's doing the best she can with the kind of material she's been given. And that's why I've never come out and criticised her, even when she's spoken publicly before, you know, with the kind of woke stuff that she says. She's just reading what's been written down for her at the end of the day. You know, this is about Chibnall, this is about the BBC. This has been a mistake, but this episode, mwah. If this was a meal, this would be a Michelin star meal. It is everything that you want from drama. It is everything that you want from storytelling. And it's a Doctor Who story I'll never forget. And this confirms to me what a genius Russell T Davies is.